seems to always be the first one to go, as it's just a little bit too strong for the toxics that he brings. And Douse banning the 𝗧𝗏𝗺 after learning from the semifinals doesn't want to fight a Nox, bans the Nox. It is a Mashuk, though, lead for Snrplat. This is pretty good, as there is no Naga on Douse's side, so the only effective damage, now that Tolkien is gone, would be that 𝗂𝗀, and 𝗂𝗀 takes the bite just as hard as he can hit with his mind. So maybe that's not the best way for Douse to go about things.
Yeah, we'll see. And well said, there's only one win Temtem to put a big damage onto Snrplat's toxic Temtems. That was the Tolkien, so proper ban. But okay, we saw this opener from Douse in the past. 𝗬𝗎𝗃 and Mashuk is what he's been relying on, which isn't too bad. Mashuk with the P jabs, 𝗬𝗎𝗃 with the narcoleptic hits for that turn 2 pressure. Never a bad way to go about it. And funny enough, both of these guys in the finals, and I believe, I'm counting here, they have 5 of the same Temtems on their team, which is quite impressive. And none of them necessarily like S tier, or I guess they would be maybe like A tier, but both with the Mashuks, 𝗬𝗎𝗃, 𝗧𝗏𝗺, 𝗧𝗏𝗺, and I think that is it. So really a lot of similarities within these both teams.
Yeah, these definitely aren't the 𝗵𝗵 teams we've grown accustomed to, and they're also not the hedging Chromion teams that we saw at the beginning of 𝗃𝗵𝗃. They are right back into a very bulky meta in an aggro meta, so it just goes to show you a little bit. Good team building can go a long way, especially in the weeklies, finding themselves in the finals with so many toxics. And also, you said there were no S tier Tems, just the A tiers. There is a Luma here, and I have to say every Luma's in S tier.
There we go. And hey, to be exact, the 𝗧𝗏𝗺, and hey, I'll give 𝗧𝗏𝗺, that A tier status. I feel like 𝗧𝗏𝗺 is a lot of good Temtem. He has so much coverage, I wanted to say. So we'll see, guys. We are ready to roll. It is the finals time here today. Snrplat, as we said, looking to go 9-time weekly champ. And Douse hasn't won one previously, but today could be his day. So let's see. As we mentioned a little bit earlier, P jab into anything might be both of these guys' ideas. So hey, here we go. Back-to-back P jabs.
Yeah, P jab. I think as much as 𝗂𝗏𝗺 doesn't like to take damage, this probably works out a little bit more in Snrplat's favor, as comebacker means that 𝗬𝗎𝗃 is below 50%, and 𝗂𝗏𝗺 can always leave and come back, get rid of that -1, and hibernate all of that HP right back up to full. So I don't know, unless Douse wants to really double in on that 𝗂𝗏𝗺 this time, go for something like the Wastewater and Narco hit. But no, it's going to be the swap instead. 𝗧𝗏𝗺 coming in. If it is the P jab, that won't really matter at that point, because then a Toxic Ink or Narco hit would be hitting the Mashuk instead. P jab. Oh no, I'm sorry, it's on 𝗧𝗏𝗺. Good friend does not work the other way. This is not Puppet Master. 𝗧𝗏𝗺 down to 57% as it does take the double in, and 𝗧𝗏𝗺 can't get rid of that -1 as it is such a good friend, it doesn't think about its own safety.
Yeah, maybe Snrplat just trying to pick a Temtem, not necessarily throw away, but one Temtem that doesn't mind taking all that damage. I mean, it's not looking good into a lot of Douse's Tem. The only exception will be once Fire Tornado / Magma Cannon comes online, which will be online the following turn, not just online just yet. But I don't know, it doesn't seem like it's going to be sticking around for too much longer if it gets doubled into, but the same could almost be said about this 𝗬𝗎𝗃. 2 defenses down, so it does decide to swap in for this 𝗧𝗏𝗺. Let's see. P jab onto the Mashuk now, not too bad.
Yeah, potentially reading the swap, just wants to go for a bit of a swap of damage, and the tenderness on the Mashuk, that might not even matter. If Mashuk just wants to P jab some more, it's not really doing it for the damage on its own. It's much more so about that minus defenses. And really, if that's Snrplat's play, we see how much stamina this Mashuk has to have P jabbed 3 times and still 40% That's got to be like a 60, 65 or 68. I don't remember the exact number that we used to go for. But now the tenderness, just get rid of the attack. You are eating that Urushiol on 𝗧𝗵𝗺 though, so that is a death sentence if 𝗧𝗵𝗺 can't heal itself some way, somehow. Fire Tornado though towards 𝗵𝗂𝗇 is bringing it down to 45%. This is a very aggressive stall match.
Yeah, just little by little, these guys are both accomplishing some good stuff. So that madness buff, bringing that Komodo up by +2/+2 attack and special defense. But man, the 𝗧𝗵𝗺, as you mentioned, on his way out. Once those final toxic ticks have already been passed, you know, in the past, he will already be down, you know, essentially 50% out the window, and it was already under 50%. So those final 3 are going to be doing a number onto 𝗧𝗵𝗺, so much so he's going to drop down. But okay, just in case 𝗧𝗵𝗺 wanted to leave, Thunder P-Jab onto that spot. Interesting.
It definitely speeds up the process. It means that what would have taken all 4 ticks before now only took 2. So 𝗧𝗵𝗺's gone. That does protect Kiinu really more than anybody else. You know, the Fire Tornadoes on Yggdrasil would have been incredible, but at -2 defense and 35% HP, it's not all that likely that Yggdrasil is sticking around. Even if he's able to come in, get a Bark Shield off, a single hit from Yowler will be enough to clear Yggdrasil from this match. Although, it does have to be said, the first knockout in Game 1 of the finals is for Douse.
Very true. Maybe a little telltale sign right there. So yeah, Snrplat, victim of the first knockout, as you said. But alright, does get a free entry to this toxic ink Calabyss. And we know Kiinu is already at -1 defense. So one toxic ink might just bring him all the way down. But not if tenderness has something to say about it. So 33% reduction on this Calabyss. And okay, it looks like 𝗵𝗂𝗇 not wanting to go down anytime soon. Okay, but the H-Slap, really nice tech on this Calabyss. I'm always happy to see an H-Slap on something like that Calabyss. So let's take a look at this 𝗵𝗂𝗇. Okay. Wait a second. I thought there was already a P-Jab. Oh, never mind. The Kiinu buff. Okay. So it's only at -1 because of the Kiinu buff, bringing it up 1 previously.
Yeah, this is pretty scary now, as nullifying both the Protector buff and getting 𝗵𝗂𝗇 back down to -1 means Barrier is not nearly as effective as it once was. The tenderness on the Yggdrasil is very good. Just get the minus attacks as quickly as you can, especially before that Toxic Ink on the Kiinu. Humiliating slap though, Calabyss doubling in. This is absolutely for a narco hit next turn, just trying to end 𝗵𝗂𝗇's unfortunately miserable existence at this point. It is it's feeling quite a bit of pain. It's not very resistant anymore. Its trait has been nullified, and unless it goes for another tenderness onto Yggdrasil to try and match the -2s, this Yggdrasil is just going to be dispatching 𝗵𝗂𝗇 this turn.
Yeah, and I think that's what Douse is praying for. So trying to bring it down to 50% reduction. But oh, with this it's a revitalize onto the Kiinu. So preserving the Kiinu, but Magia not trying to go for broke with that narcoleptic hit. Instead goes up and away in terms of defenses. So all those P-Jabs earlier on. Actually, wait, it wasn't P-Jab. It was a little bit confusing because Douse is going for the tenderness game plan. You know, we haven't recently seen a lot of tenderness. It's usually P-Jab, 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 like the good old Snrplat 𝗵𝗵𝗆𝗺 game a couple weeks ago. But, you know, instead, Douse going for the offensive one to mitigate the damage onto himself rather than the damage onto your opponents. So, okay, Kiinu does swap in for this Yggdrasil. And I don't know, man. Douse is getting a whole lot of value from this tenderness. Let's see if it adds up to be the game-winning game plan, because he's not doing damage, but he's going to be mitigating a whole lot of it.
Yeah, absolutely. These hits, Yggdrasil down to 21%. Waiting for all of these animations to go through. It's, oh man, it's looking honestly pretty tough for Snrplat at the moment, despite having a lot of HP on a lot of Tems. The -3 attack on Yggdrasil, -1 attack on Calabyss, -1 attack on 𝗵𝗂𝗇. while Douse has all of these toxic Tems that won't be taking toxic tick damage, it's definitely an advantage of the tenderness. Spam, just keep Yowler nullified. Don't let it be happy. Savage suplex a mental Tem.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
That did nothing.
Yeah, absolutely nothing. Something like 5%. Insane what this tenderness control can do. So Snrplat with no clean answer for this 𝗲𝗃, even though he's at -2 defense. 𝗲𝗃, I don't even know. That has to be a record-breaking tenderness. I think that was what, like 6 tenderness? That is crazy.
Yeah, that is a lot of value in your life. Although we need to talk about this Kinu's value as well, as these revitalizers have been coming through every other turn for quite a while now, and have been keeping Douse's Tems nice and healthy, despite quite a bit of an onslaught from Snrplat's side. But it's still just looking so tough. He's got all of this HP, but it just looks like his Tems are being destroyed. Their viability is being taken away from them while they're still perfectly healthy.
Yeah, making matters worse, Douse finding the perfect opportunity to make that 𝗲𝗃 even healthier with that 𝗧𝗵𝗶𝗴𝗺 trait. So now it's going to be harder, but Savage Suplex trying to take advantage of the minus defense and still finds the kill. That is big. Despite having the 33% reduction on that Yowler's attack, still enough to get the kill. So, okay, going in the right direction for Snrplat. Finally able to take out a single Temtem off of Douse's board. So, hey, that's a good thing going for Snrplat. Can he continue this slight momentum here? Because he just Savage Suplex, so we know he doesn't have his strongest attack since Ashi isn't available to him. So, man, that -2 defense 𝗲𝗃, I don't think he's going anywhere. Nijisu is at -3 attack, and he was running out of stamina at that. So, this 𝗲𝗃 probably going to be playing the tenderness game one more time.
Yeah, tenderness, or just try to get some P-jabbed humiliating slaps. Oh, no. They're doing it twice. This could just be -4 𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗺 at the end of next turn. That would be scary. The acid reflux though on the swap in, it's not going to do nearly enough damage. It's a little bit more on 𝗬𝗏𝗵𝗏 due to that water typing, but mucus just reduces it even more. It's just so little damage able to be dealt. I don't know. I expected Douse to maybe hurt Snrplat a little bit more by now. He spent so much time reducing the attacks, but he hasn't been attacking, and it's just not started yet. He's focusing a little bit more on getting his HP back, but in the meantime, Snrplat just P-jab. This has got to be the humiliating slap coming up next. Just go for gold, Snrplat. If you can reduce your opponent's defenses by 2 every single turn, and then bring a Yowler out, you've won the game.
Yeah, for sure. So that's exactly what Snrplat's trying to rely on, but man, 𝗲𝗃 doesn't seemingly go down to anything. He's at -4 defense, which you never see anyone have such a tough time taking it down. But you know, -4 defense, but his Temtems, or Snrplat's Temtems, just aren't delivering the blows as they usually would because of those tenderness. So out comes the Yowler, making the chamomile erase all those tenderness from the past. So not too shabby. You know, he's gonna have to go for a tenderness or a P-jab here, but at least that's just -1, so that Savage Suplex comes back online. So hey, speaking of the other tenderness, does pick the right spot, and it's at -1 here.
Oh man, this is so many debuffs. A 𝗲𝗃 at -4, I don't think I've ever seen that before. And this Kinu back down to normal. 𝗬𝗏𝗍 still wants nothing to do with this game, as pretty much everybody on Snrplat's team, except for that 𝗬𝗏𝗺 that's in the grave, it wins the fight versus 𝗬𝗏𝗍. So really, unless there are even more debuffs, I almost hate to say it, they're revitalized back on the Kinu again. Savage Suplex, this 𝗲𝗃, oh my god, that Yowler is -1 attack, and that's a parry or 𝗲𝗃, and we just saw 46% damage.
Oh, wow. Did the 𝗲𝗃 go down? Wow. Yeah, you know, -4 defense. That is a way to put a damper on that tenderness party that Douse was bringing out. So excellent stuff. You know, Snrplat, despite being so down in terms of that damage output available to him, I think you nailed it right perfectly, Rawrzyyy. You said Douse just wasn't doing damage to Snrplat. He was controlling the board in terms of the attack, you know, with the tenderness, but he just wasn't dishing out the pain. And now having to dish out the pain with the final two Temtems remaining might just be a bit of an uphill climb just because of the Temtem advantage. I mean, the Rawrzyyy Gust doing a good way, but the hibernation proving why 𝗂𝗵𝗶𝗴 is not a force to be messed with. And oh my goodness, strangle onto the 𝗧𝗲𝗺. So now he just has to focus on this 𝗬𝗵𝗵, but Douse, as we said, final two Temtems to his name, and Snrplat with a lot of Temtems still remaining despite having that attack down. I think just by pure Tem advantage, I think Snrplat will be taking this home. Or
yeah, it's just a little bit insurmountable right now. I think the strangle is really the difficulty then for Douse, right?
Yeah, the strangle control and 𝗂𝗪 with the 𝗂𝗵𝗶 as well, right? Let's see. So with the comebacker trade 100, okay, so doesn't even get 50%. Interesting enough. Wait a second. How is it's a -1 attack, right? Not doing 50%. Let's take a look. Yeah, it was that -1 attack.
Yeah, we could it's kind of like you said, the 𝗂𝗵𝗶 is just so strong for Snrplat. When he has all these Tems left alive, there's no reason why he can't swap 𝗂𝗪 out, bring 𝗂𝗪 back, not worry about taking exhaustion from Plague or toxic ticks from anything and Komodo throws out, lose that -1 attack. That's almost like you are giving yourself a little bit of health and an advantage against the 𝗧𝗲𝗺 as well as a show off in the same turn. So it really works out well for Plat. There's no downside there, and because Savage Suplex is gone and there is no Oshidashi, there's not really much of a reason for 𝗂𝗪 to stay. I feel like Yggdrasil can just click Toxic Ink onto 𝗬𝗵𝗵. It'll probably do about that 30-40% after the two Toxic Ticks have gone their way. And yeah, that DV onto 𝗂𝗪 is just not going to do it. From 53 down to 42, so only about 10% damage dealt from the attack itself, but those Toxic Ticks are ticking away, and 𝗬𝗵𝗵 pretty much at the end of the line here.
Yeah, for sure. I think just one final Toxic Tick will put it under. But you know, we can never count out, as you said, Luma Temtems are in that S tier category. So I don't know, man. Can this Komodo, the 𝗧𝗲𝗺, do God's work? Just bring it all the way home for Douse? A 1v4 situation? That is what Douse is preying on right now. I mean, it is incredibly raid boss up, right? So it is that +2 defense, +4 special defense, and it has a pillar with narcoleptic hit. So it has the heals. Is there a way he can bring it all the way back? I don't feel like it's impossible, right? Maybe it is.
You know, I think Spores on the 𝗂𝗪 just to make sure it stays alive. Gotta protect the TMR. I think that with 𝗂𝗪 still here, there's nothing stopping it from swapping back in, showing off until it's left of 𝗂𝗵𝗶 to go for the hibernate, and then it gets all of its HP back that 𝗧𝗲𝗺 may have taken away, as well as all of those show-off buffs. At that point, the +2 is just not going to be enough of a difference maker.
Yeah, and there we go. I think you said it perfectly. So just reducing those defenses to make it a lot easier for this 𝗂𝗪 might be the idea. But you know, 𝗂𝗪 has no increases on defenses of his own. So you know, those narcoleptic hits will eventually start chunking. I'm wondering, is 2 narcoleptic hits enough for the 𝗂𝗪 to go all the way down? So there goes show off with that Invigorize. But of course, 𝗂𝗵𝗶 won't let it get the Invigorize. So just a good +1 attack, but narcoleptic. Oh, I almost want to see it on 𝗂𝗪 just to see how much damage it is, but he overexerted. And I think that is a death sentence. Base defenses, Savage Suplex online, P-Jab Savage Suplex might just do the job here. Actually, not just yet. I think it's going to survive at least one attack like this.
Yeah, at this point, though, the 𝗶𝗵𝗶 plus show off, it's absolutely free. Because you can just 𝗶𝗵𝗶 again the following turn. It's already at -1 defense. That'll be -2 defense, +2 attack. I don't think Komodo is surviving that one. I think that's a little bit too much to ask.
Yeah, for sure. Make that -3 or -2, but attack +3, so 150% increase on Yowler's attack. And you know, Yowler didn't get any kind of nerf in terms of attack, guys. So he's still packing the punch as he always has. And looking at just one shot here, a final 𝗶𝗵𝗶, bringing it down to -3. And for the Hail Mary Savage Suplex, let's see, unless this acid reflux does some astronomical amount on Yowler, which it doesn't get the kill, of course. This Savage Suplex plus the comebacker trait, that is 100% GG. Beautifully played from the side of Snrplat, but very close for Douse as well. You know, those tenderness, I bet you were scaring Snrplat somewhere in the middle, no?
Pretty much 100% HP. And it was just time that Douse, he was trying to, I think, catch back up due to the nerfs that Snrplat had dealt his way. He was focused a little bit too much on nerfing Plat and not enough on protecting himself, potentially.
Yeah, potentially, for sure. And you know, I'm wondering here, just trying to think in hindsight, what if all those tenderness were 𝗶𝗵𝗶 instead? Do you think that would have worked out a bit better for Douse, just to really try to get some damage, as you said, done? I don't know how much he would have survived without those tenderness, but I almost want to say maybe just the 𝗶𝗵𝗶, nice and straightforward, could have worked out. But of course, we might have to rewatch everything to see if it really would have worked out better for him. But we'll see. Now we know Snrplat and Douse's game plan. I mean, Snrplat always has that 𝗶𝗵𝗶 plus some physical to follow it up. But now Snrplat knows how much tenderness Douse wants to work with, so he might work around that. But at the same time, he ended up winning game 1, so maybe not too honestly worried about it.
Yeah, if it's the same game plan, if it is the tenderness, I think Plat just wants to do the same thing in 𝗶𝗵𝗶 spam. If Douse goes for the 𝗶𝗵𝗶s instead, then Plat is going to have a little bit more to worry about, depending on just how many 𝗶𝗵𝗶s Douse can get off. I think the biggest difference maker in the 𝗶𝗵𝗶 versus 𝗶𝗵𝗶 wars would be Snrplat having Humiliating Slap on 𝗂𝗀𝗵𝗶 as well. So kind of doubling up on those minus defenses means that he can move twice as quickly in that debuff game. And that would probably be enough to give Snrplat the edge if Douse wanted to go into Plat's court. So it is a 𝗶𝗵𝗶 lead from Snrplat, outspeeding all the rest. And everybody nice and healthy once more, although it looks like it's pretty much the same situations. 𝗶𝗵𝗶, this time targeting Mashooks instead of opposing Tems. I think in the past it was Yggdrasil and Yowler. Although the spores onto Mashook trying to get the heal off right away, but the stare, Mashook's already at -2. I don't know how much that regen is really going to be good for after this narco hit.
Yeah, you're so right. You said it earlier, the potential double up minus defense ability from Snrplat's team, like that Stair Noxolotl, like the H-Slap 𝗂𝗂𝗶𝗃, I do believe is going to be the deciding factor in these matchups, especially when they go a little bit into that mid-range stallier type matchup, as we're seeing here. Those 𝗶𝗵𝗶s making such a difference down the road. So now a potential -3 defense narcoleptic hit incoming onto the Mashook. That should easily be over 50, closer to 60% damage on the Mashook. So 2 shots will take it down. And knowing that, it looks like the Mashook having to retreat for this Kinu.
Yeah, definitely a protector buff on Yggdrasil is nice, although a 𝗶𝗵𝗶 to knock it away is a little less nice. And the stare on the Kinu means that the wastewater is going to do even more. And this might already be getting out of hand. The narco hit is nice damage towards Mashook. We see at just -1 that dealt just about 50%, just 4% shy. So if Snrplat had been able to do that back towards Douse at -3, that could have easily been 100% on Mashook if Noxolotl was feeling nice and strong.
Yeah, you know, we don't say that too often, especially considering these parrier Mashooks But you know, something we got to give Douse credit for is the recoverability, right? He's the one with the heal target. So he has Revitalize on Kinu. He has the Spores on Yggdrasil. There is no recoverability on Snrplat's team. So that could make a difference down the road. But you know, you can't heal if you go down. So let's see. 𝗧𝗵𝗶𝗶𝗶 should be enough. And yeah, forget the Revitalize. That game plan has gone away. So only able to recover some HP with these Spores down the road. But good stuff, Snrplat removing the Kinu from this equation nice and early. So 1 kill going in the direction of Snrplat. But hey, did come at a good cost. 𝗵𝗂𝗽 on his way out of here as well.
Oh man, I was just thinking about the 𝗧𝗵𝗺s in the back. It makes sense that Douse wants to get 𝗧𝗵𝗺 going. If he's running Earthbreaker, he wants to be prepared for Snrplat 𝗧𝗵𝗺s. But bringing it in right now in front of 𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗴's stare is maybe not the right time. I don't know when Douse would be able to find the right time, is I guess the problem. Oh, but with Cheer Up, potentially there is no Earthbreaker. It might just be that Fire Tornado instead wanting to do damage. 𝗵𝗂𝗽 slide over exertion, Toxic Ink from 𝗧𝗵𝗺, 𝗧𝗵𝗺 at 38%. Yggdrasil getting a nice kill towards Snrplat's 𝗵𝗂𝗽, so now it's 1 for 1 Although 𝗧𝗵𝗺, its trait taking away half of its HP is so tough against these toxic Tems. When it ticks down, it doesn't care that you've got those +1s in your defense and special defense. It just cares that you're half HP.
Yeah, exactly right. I believe that's like the #1 counter for 𝗧𝗵𝗺, except for, you know, of course, the straightforward Earth techniques, just the little toxic ticks. I mean, you start at essentially 50, and 2 toxic inks, or 2 toxic ticks rather, are 50% of that, right? 25%. That, it just feels too bad. 12.5% is so much, especially considering, as we said, when you're just starting off that 50 or the 60 HP percentage. But okay, I think Snrplat was okay letting this 𝗵𝗂𝗽 go, as he did choose to overexert, so pretty sure he thought it was going out. Does bring in 𝗬𝗫 to try to get off some water techniques in that second turn of it being on the board, but does bring in the 𝗵𝗂𝗽, and okay, Douse taking advantage of having the Spores there, so does get the 𝗵𝗂𝗽 going.
Oh boy, but there's the stare, there is the H-slap. 𝗵𝗂𝗽 is -3, Yggdrasil is -1. And now we're really staring down this 𝗵𝗂𝗽. It is -3, and Narco hit on this 𝗧𝗵𝗺 is just a little too terrifying. It's also alerted, which means that it can just go for a Narco hit, stay awake, and attack Yggdrasil the following turn with another stare.
Yeah, you know, I don't think it's going to be taking him down all the way down to 0, but I think a double up will. I don't think the single Narco hit does the job. But maybe a little Toxic Ink or even a water technique. But 𝗵𝗂𝗽 stays in for the P-jab. Is this a bit of a blunder? Okay, so it goes for a special attack. So Acid Reflux. So yeah, I think 𝗵𝗂𝗽 was okay staying in, it looks like.
Oh, but this H-slap is gonna do some damage on its own. Down to 68% and now -4. If this is a -5 𝗵𝗂𝗽 eating a Narco hit, there's a first time for everything, right? Because I don't think that that's ever happened on ladder. I don't think that's ever happened in a tournament. We have seen these P-jab H-slap stares to an extent that I think I've only ever seen in one other tournament, in a toxic versus toxic match where Snrplat came out on top, and it still was not -4 𝗵𝗂𝗽. I think we might have seen like a -2 or -3 before a Ragnet nullified it and Paizo electric blowed it. But no, that's not what we're seeing today. This is stare P-jab H-slap central for Snrplat. That's the game plan. Just remove the availability for Douse to survive anything.
Yeah, we'll see. Of course, Narco hit is online, but I believe this 𝗧𝗵𝗺 has to overexert to do so if he wants to deploy it on this turn. Might just get the kill. As we said before, Narco let the hit into anything the 𝗬𝗫s can do will most likely bring that 𝗵𝗂𝗽, especially considering it's at -4 defense. Man, you don't see that all the time. So let's see what Douse can swap into. He could either let the 𝗧𝗵𝗺 go, just sacrifice it there, or he could try to bring in that Komodo 𝗧𝗵𝗺 to try to eat that double up potentially coming in. which might work out better. But at the same time, I don't think this -4 defense 𝗲𝗃 can get off that much anyways. Maybe a P jab before going down. And no, it looks like 𝗏𝗡 lost a little connection. Hopefully he makes it back in time though.
Yeah, he's in a pretty good spot, although it did just move forward with the turn, so potentially just forcing him to double rest, not giving him a chance to come back, would be a bit unfortunate for Plat, but a nice reprieve for Douse to try and catch up a little bit is, of course, the photosynthesis. It's almost like he knew that it was coming, wanted to take advantage, get still that stamina back, get 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗴 that nice little buff that it needs so much. That worked out pretty perfectly for Douse. The timing to not take damage on that turn just gives him a chance to catch back up just a little bit.
Yeah, exactly right. Almost like he knew it was a DC there. So, and I know Douse had nothing to do with it. But okay, I think a little bit of a visual bug though, because doesn't photosynthesis recover the stamina on the 𝗧𝗏𝗃? It still looks like it's down at 10%. But we'll see. Good Thunder Strike trying to bring it into the trance range, and I believe it does. So, oh, because of the alert status, it won't be going to sleep though.
Oh yeah, but that water jet on 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗴 brings it back down, so Baton Pass doesn't quite matter. Narcoleptic hit onto Nox is enough. It brings Nox a little down as well. Trade for trade. 3 Tems remaining on both sides, although -4 defense 𝗲𝗃 is one of those Tems remaining for Douse. And there's a 𝗬𝗚lus over here who can probably OHKO the Crystal Bite.
Yeah, most likely. If not, at the very least, a double up, right? C-Bite into Sharp Stab most likely takes it down before, you know, the strongest technique is something like a Wastewater. Maybe second would be like an uppercut. None of those attacks are really going to be damaging that 𝗬𝗚lus that much so. So yeah, 𝗬𝗚lus looking like an MVP late game here. And you know, the Komodo Dragon isn't as bulky and set up as we saw in game number 1. So if it wasn't able to out damage or outlast Snrplat's team in that game 1, I don't think base stack Komodo will do so. But let's take a look. So good Toxic Ink on that 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗴. And okay, speaking of getting buffed up, he does go for the madness buff. So trying to go for a bit of a Hail Mary play there.
Yeah, I heard you talking about those base stats, and Douse is having none of that. Madness buff eats the Thunderstrike very nicely, although the humiliating slap a little bit less nicely. Now everybody on Douse's side is at least -1 defense, and there is a very, very hungry 𝗬𝗚lus in the back that just wants to take advantage of these poor souls. At this point, I wonder if Snrplat just wants to swap it in before 𝗲𝗃 comes in and has the opportunity to tenderness.
Yeah, that wouldn't be too bad of an idea. Plus, you get that Crystal Bite online. I mean, looking at Douse's current team, none of that is really going to be doing effective damage on the 𝗬𝗚lus, so I don't think that's a bad idea. I didn't think there was a chamomile on that 𝗬𝗚lus, right? I believe it was on the Yowler earlier, so it probably still has to eat some toxic ticks from this 𝗧𝗏𝗃 most likely. But that is okay, as long as you get Crystal Bite online. As you mentioned, those minus defenses are adding up, especially on that 𝗲𝗃. So we'll see. I think Snrplat in a comfortable lead as of right now, but hasn't, I would say, like 100% won it just yet. But is looking heavily favored though.
Yeah, it definitely feels like we're getting close to that part where Snrplat clicks Fire Tornado on 𝗧𝗏𝗃. If he swaps 𝗬𝗚lus in, he probably goes for the hook kick, just to keep Crystal Bite available for when 𝗲𝗃 comes back in. Of course, if it swaps in, then Crystal Bite would still be available. Or if it were to kill the 𝗧𝗏𝗃 with a hook kick, then 𝗲𝗃 would come back in. But then Crystal Bite would be available, but it is the 𝗲𝗃 swap immediately along with the 𝗬𝗚lus coming in for Cannabis. So Crystal Bite will be available and will be faster than 𝗲𝗃. It keeps on coming in and taking these spores, getting itself healed, but I don't know if that's gonna matter when you're -4 defense. This 𝗬𝗚lus is just about to pummel you.
Yeah, double up, or hey, are we gonna see a never before done? I've never seen a pair of Machoke with a double screen go down from 95%. But as you said before, this is the heaviest hitting attack on Snrplat's squad. Crystal Bite most likely incoming in that direction. Let's see, Bite 95. Okay, Parrier way too thick.
I mean, still though, perfect job on 𝗂𝗪𝗧. That probably doesn't even matter. 𝗦𝘂𝗽𝗪 forced to go for another photosynthesis. Fire Tornado. 𝗧𝗲𝗺𝗺 just targeting down this 𝗦𝘂𝗪𝗧 from 80 to 37. Now the HP is a problem for Douse because it is all orange versus all green. And 𝗧𝗲𝗺𝗺 is even a couple turns of evasion, which means he can just stay here, rest up, get his stamina back. The hook kick brings 𝗦𝘂𝗪𝗧 down. No more healing, no more toxic ticks immediately, although another perfect jab towards 𝗂𝗪𝗧 means that maybe, just maybe, something will happen this coming turn. Narco hit, if Komodo's able to survive, is at least neutral damage. Because I don't think that this Machoke on Douse's side is using uppercut. I think Tenderness, P-Jab, Wastewater, and we saw a cage earlier, right?
I believe so. So yeah, I think C-Bite looking devastating on the Machoke. We saw how much it did the first time. So Machoke going down. So let's see, is 𝗧𝗪𝗏𝗀 versus the world one more time. And I think Snrplat just has one too many Temtems. So just in case the Machoke survives somehow, does go for the E Storm. And okay, if there's one way to come back into it, at least both of Snrplat's Temtems have overexerted. But I think the 𝗂𝗪𝗧 could just hit the back line for a little bit, let the 𝗂𝗪𝗏 try to get some more H-slaps in here, and then 𝗂𝗪𝗧 with the final Crystal Bite. That is everything it needs. So I think Snrplat now 100% has indeed won this game. Yeah, as we're seeing here, could just rely on this 𝗂𝗪𝗏 for some good old H-slaps. I was thinking don't let 𝗂𝗪𝗧 down, or don't let him get any bit lower. But since it's sleeping right now, actually no, this works out perfectly. You keep 𝗂𝗪𝗏 in here, you swap out 𝗂𝗪𝗧 if you even need it, right? Because yeah, C-Bite probably just takes it down as we're seeing. So ladies and gents, guys, we have a new 9-time champion in the house, and his name is Snrplat, guys. People...